Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has launched her long-awaited new lifestyle series, With Love, Meghan. Now, Jane, you've watched a good old chunk of it already. We're going to be getting her verdict in just a moment. But for the rest of us, here's a little taste of what to expect, including making your own bath salts. You see, I like a bit of that sort of stuff, OK? I'm looking at Jane. You've watched more than me, to be fair. I've only seen the clips at this point. What are your thoughts so far?
Well, as somebody who, when people come to stay with me, they're lucky if they get a clean towel thrown on the end of their bed.
This is the series you need to watch.
I'm probably not the target audience. But no, look, I was expecting big things. And I was expecting big things because this is a multi-million-pound deal. So if, you know, a streaming platform like Netflix is going to throw money at something, you expect it's going to be original, fresh, exciting, revelatory. Sadly, and I'm only speaking from my own personal experience, it was none of these things. It's beautifully shot. She looks amazing. She's in, like, loads of different sort of cream linen. I mean, who wears cream linen when they're cooking? But anyway, she looks great. It's beautifully shot. A lot of money's obviously been spent on it. But whisper it, it's boring.
Oh, really?
I just found it boring. I didn't feel... Anybody that looks at Instagram or TikTok, there's a million of these things on there every single day, done in a very sort of... This just gives, like, what feels like an age to each thing. So, you know, arranging fruit on a platter, arranging some vegetables on a platter to make them colourful and joyful, whatever that means. And her guest kind of going, wow, as if, you know, it's the most amazing thing he's ever seen. So it's just a lot of that. And I suppose a lot, even if you're not interested in all this sort of homemakey stuff, you'd watch it thinking, I want to learn a bit about, you know, I want to see their house.
Yeah.
When you don't see their house, it's a rented house down the road.
And she says that, doesn't she? I think
she says that quite a lot, actually, to hammer that point home. And also, you know, you want to maybe hear a few bits, but, you know, I think I learned that Prince Harry likes fried eggs.
OK.
And, you know, I don't know.
So it's not Kardashian-esque, is it? You know, I think if, like you say, I like watching, I love, like, the Real Housewives, for instance, and I love looking at their houses and their clothes and their wardrobes and where they go for their dinner. It's none of that sort of stuff at all.
I found my attention drifting, I have to say.
Right.
Yeah.
OK. What do you make of it, though, Frank?
I don't know. Obviously,
you be watching
no, I won't. I don't think I'll be watching it because I am, again, like, not a very good host. Like, you'll get a clean towel, to be fair, but I'm very much a, like, here's where everything is, help yourself kind of person. So I don't think I will watch it. But I do kind of feel like, I don't know, I feel like she's damned if she does and damned if she doesn't. Like, kind of a bit like people aren't going to like it, whatever she does. And I feel like she's tried a few things and I just think people don't want to like it. But I also agree with, like, all your points. I reckon if I watched it, I'd 100% agree. And I think people are doing it online. People are doing it on socials. And I suppose she's just doing it in a
And they don't get a multi-million-pound Netflix deal.
No, they don't. But they're also not Meghan Markle. So I don't know. I just think if she was doing... There's people that do that here on TV, but because people like them, then they say it's great and they love it. And I feel like if she was even trying to do a show that was, like, down to earth, everyone would still give her a hard time anyway.
Yeah, and also it's based in LA. Her life is very different to us. It's just, as you say, it looks beautiful, everything's sunny. It's just a different way of life, isn't it? So maybe we are a slightly different audience to what she's
I don't think any of us can really relate to it. Like, I haven't got time to do any of that stuff.
But I watched the documentary, and obviously they're trying to make her out to be the next sort of the modern-day Martha Stewart. And I watched a documentary about Martha Stewart the other day, and I found her and it fascinating. She was like the original, and she was the original but her whole life was that.
Yeah.
And so there was an authenticity to it. I don't know. I just sort of feel it's a bit like, OK, one minute I'm a feminist, which is great, and I'm, you know, doing all of this. Now I'm a homemaker, and it's very sort of the whole trad wife thing. And I don't know, I just feel I would just like to see the real Meghan.
But maybe I don't know if she even knows who that is anymore.
Maybe,
I don't know. I just get the vibe that she's trying all this stuff. I mean, I don't know her, I'm acting like I know her. But I'm like, maybe she's trying these things and whatever she does, no one likes her doing them. So, like, oh, I don't know.
But I do think there's always going to be a huge interest in her. And, you know, a lot of people will be watching it and enjoying it. See, I can imagine you being the perfect hostess. I can imagine you teaching Meghan a few things.
Well, maybe we should just kind of, like, draw the line at this point of the conversation, because I think we've got to move on to the next subject.
No, Penny, I'm not moving on until you tell me what you do. I can imagine your house just smelling gorgeous.
I think as far as making time for your friends and family, we're all so busy in our lives. So when we do make the time to invite someone over, I do like to kind of create an atmosphere, whether you're having your friends having dinner on your laps in front of a movie or you're having a more formal sit down. I love to kind of almost walk through the experience and light candles and put music on, and you know, I like that whole ambience of just like gelling everything together, depending on what the occasion is, whether
music,
it's casual or big
set
party.
music
You know.
in your house.
I love.
Can you
I love
invite
to
me
entertain.
one day?
Absolutely.
I always light a candle, but it's because I live with smelly boys. So I just
For different reasons.
myself,
Different reasons. You could do a programme about that. Now, Meghan isn't the only one with a brand new series out because... Oh, yes, very appropriate. Loose Women, the podcast, has dropped, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Denise and Ida kicked off our first ever episode where they covered everything from Hollywood crushes to motherhood. Let's have a listen.
Coco and Beau, what was tricky for me, where I was really nervous and scared, was because I had Coco and Beau via surrogate. And I remember being very nervous about what that would feel like and feeling kind of less than. And I remember I had a friend who was pregnant at the same time, and I felt deep shame that she got to be pregnant and I wasn't, even though I was having a baby 3 months before her. I didn't go to any maternity shops.
It's interesting talking about it as shame. I
felt like it was a failure on my behalf, and I felt like I didn't have the right to celebrate. Like with Teddy and Charlie, I got baby clothes beforehand, but I didn't for Coco. I didn't feel like I had the right to do that until she was here.
So interesting listening to Ida there. And I think we all have our own experiences, don't we, and how we feel about things. It's interesting how people feel there's a stigma about certain things or choices that they've made when it comes to having children. Are we still there? Are we still being judgmental towards each other?
I think it's so sad that, you know, we do have moments where women are there to support women, and that's such a joyous moment to see, you know, all supporting one another. But then there are those kind of cliquey groups where you can still kind of feel that animosity and being that judgment, which really shouldn't be happening, because we all know when we make our own birthing plan, that's never going to go as we plan it, because we are all individuals, and every birth, you know, between my first and my second is different. So every woman has a different journey, and they should be entitled to their own choices. You know, and you do hear that women are judged if they choose an elective caesarean. I was even judged on having a vaginal, as they call natural birth. Surely, Penny, you know, you went through a lot of pain, and that pain must cause stress, and that stress is going to go to your baby, so maybe you should... And I'm thinking, what? You know, that was my choice, and because it was my choice, I wasn't stressed. So it's just don't put pressure on women to make those decisions.
It's interesting, isn't it? And like you were, because you were 24?
24,
yeah. So what was your experience like? Because you're relatively young mummy, obviously.
I could talk about this all day. It absolutely drives me mad. I just don't understand it. Like, when you're an adult, do we ever ask each other how you were born? I have no idea how any of you were born. It makes no difference. And I just find it so odd that people are so obsessed with it. Like, how amazing is it now that people that are struggling to have children have so many different options and so many ways to still have them? And I think it's such a shame that people feel that either sometimes out of choice, like I chose to have a C-section because my doctor advised that, but I know friends that didn't choose that and ended up having an emergency C-section and feeling like they failed in some way. And to me, like, a birth is a birth. Like, it's not a competition. You know, I met people that were like, well, I didn't have gas and air and I didn't have this and I've had 3 and the second one just fell out and blah, blah, blah. And I had, you know, I had all of this while I was pregnant. And I remember just thinking, I really don't care. Like, what difference does it make? Like, how lucky are we to have the option to have painkillers if you want them or not to have them? You have that choice. And I think to make people feel guilty about any of that, it's just wrong, and it drives me mad from the minute you're pregnant.
What are you thinking?
Well, I just squatted in the back garden and both of mine just popped out naturally. No, elective cesarean, loud and proud.
With a dirty towel.
Did it what's supposed to be the right way, which of course there isn't. The first time, it was agony, it was a nightmare, nearly had to have an emergency cesarean. So the second time, I was literally like, I'm not interested, I want an elective cesarean, and, you know, thank you very much. And as far as I'm concerned, if any of your friends ever have a judgment on how you have your baby, get new friends.
Yeah.
I like your style today, Jean. She means business, doesn't she?
Today,
there you go.
No.
Yes, and remember, you can hear more of all of that on our Loose Women, the podcast, wherever you normally get your podcasts. Plus, you can watch on YouTube and ITVX with a new episode streaming every Tuesday and Friday.